Today we celebrate a milestone on our journey to reconciliation. Today a masterpiece will be risen to commemorate the survivors, the ones that have gone before us, and the bright road ahead of us.
And the elders told us, he said, this is not the end of it. It's only the beginning. It's only the beginning. We've come together, brothers and sisters, and we're going to remain that way.
I'm nervous.
Big salad and roast beef, anyone?
7. Yay!
But it's just a fun, so.
Reconciliation is a tough subject once you get into it, and dig deep, and it's all the healing and things we have to come together to realize if we want to move forward.
You can see the pole there, and the tent over to the right, that's where the elders.
This is a monumental occasion. What's being represented here today cannot be put into words in terms of what it means. It's hard not to feel emotional. I think the most meaningful thing is that he provided an opportunity for everybody to put their fingerprints on that pole and honor their families who've been affected by residential school.
The work tells the story of the time before, during, and after the Indian residential school system. A system that caused so much harm to this nation and to these lands. Let what is happening today be an example for true reconciliation around this world.
Reconciliation is an opportunity for everyone to learn about the stories of the people who were harmed, and to learn how to make things better by sharing the stories and learning from them and not ever allowing it to happen again.
It is friendship based on mutual respect and admiration.
Today they're raising the totem pole, and what it means to me is it helps with the closure for anybody who went through residential school. It's just a reminder that who's still here to stay strong.
There's been recognition of an event or a situation, and the conversation has brought us to a point where now we can say, people can continue the conversation and say what they need to heal. So they've been there, everyone's been at the table and talked about what's happened, how it's affected them, how it's affected their families, and now they are able to say, I need this to move on.
The word reconciliation means that we're atoning for the things that have happened in the past. I think it's incumbent on all of us to really make things right and amend the wrongdoings of the past.
It took a long time for me to get here, from being able to function and say what I have to say and make without the anger and anguish and a lot of shame. So I dropped all that, and I'm here today, and I'm live. A lot of friends that didn't make it here, a lot of Res brothers and sisters. That's why we're here. We speak for them, the ones that are unable to be here.
Some of our people have never been picked up because it's 7 generations deep. We, as the leaders of our villages at home, where they put us on these little places we call reserves, we are the ones that can pick up our kids. We are the ones that can pick up our brothers that have been so damaged, our sisters that have been so damaged, It's time for us to pick up our people. This big word they're throwing around right now, reconciliation. What does that mean to every one of you standing here? What can you do to help your immediate family? How can I pick up a brother and a sister? That's the message I want to relay today.
What is not being reconciled? What is it that we don't reconcile? Color? I started as a very brown child and black hair. Now I look like a very white person. So I've gone through all those gamuts, even with multicolored skin. And at every turn, that was something different. I was seen as different. But I'm not different. I'm a woman who's made children, raised children, loved people. It doesn't matter what color those people were or are. I don't know how long it will take us to reconcile, but I do know that we need to really get at it.
What I've been carrying for the last 55, 60 years of my life, what's happened to me in residential school, I've become a professional in hate, in anger, and in shame and fear. But the word reconciliation, I feel, is something that I have to deal with very, very seriously, not only for my life, but the future for all of youth. And I have to look at it in two different angles on how I want to deal with it and become stronger, not only for myself, but for my family, my sons and my grandkids, my new daughters that I have, to try and come to a sense of healing for myself.
That comes from old history, and we all have old stories about our history, oral history, and this is what we grown up with and understand the way the world works. And now this totem pole speaks of the time before and our old ways, the way we thought about the world, and then residential school gets plunked on our heads, and then we have to live with that.
Events like this where it's recognized and realized, again, how the suffering happened and how it has affected the people of First Nations ancestry, and allowing them to heal.
And it tells the history of the Indian residential school survivors, but more importantly, it tells the story of all of the children that were kidnapped, taken to these schools, and never seen again. Whether they lived through that process or not, many of them were not seen again. Those children were kidnapped when they're 5, 6, 7 years old and torn from their families, shattering the families. But today we get to see a monument that should be standing in every capital city in Canada and North America, wherever those Indian residential schools were sitting.
For us to be Aboriginal people and thrown into residential school or taken away to go to residential school, it's more of losing your language, losing your culture, and stuff like that. It's more of the way I can put it, you know. You look at everybody walking around today wearing regalia, you know, bringing it back, because even the language.
The ways of our Coast Salish people are people. That wonderful pole is what we call a marker. And I seen you put the nails in, thousands of nails representing the ones that died. And that is a true testament. It's a marker so that we never forget. we never forget who they were. Each and every one of those souls, those spirits, will remember today going forward. I like what you said about before, during, and after. The before represents who we were and who we are becoming again. During, always remembering, and I heard the speakers and we all heard what happened, the tragedy that happened in those schools to our people, our children. And after, this is today, going forward, once we put that pole up, it's after, it's up to each and every one of us, like I said, the red, the black, the white, and the yellow, to carry this. We witness this. Each and every one of us witness what's going to happen here today. And we truly are carrying out the Truth and Reconciliation 94 call to action to educate, educate, educate. So we know that'll never happen again. We know that.
The pole will face in the direction of the UBC Indian Residential School History and Dialogue Center, located between the Kerner Library and the Irving K. Barber Learning Center. The IRC will open in the next academic year and provide residential school survivors and communities access to the records of truth and reconciliation.
I'll be so happy once that they have the building, that they'll have records and things of all the residential schools. Once the students, they could come and research if they need to find maybe their ancestors' records of their great-great-grandparents and that. I'm kind of excited. I like to come and look at it once it's built.
It's great to see so many non-natives here hearing these stories, and I don't think the change is going to come inside our own communities. It's going to come from you outside in the general public of hearing these stories, and you guys are the ones that are going to help make the change on behalf of First Nations people.
Reconciliation be important to newcomers to Canada?
I think it would be very good for them because they're coming into a new country and they don't know, they might not know much about us and on what hard things that we went through as being in residential school.
How can individual Canadians make positive steps towards reconciliation?
Learn about what happened to the first peoples of this land, be educated about what they did to them, and also accept the fact that they're responsible for where we're at today socially. It's part of that residential school syndrome that's still here.
Today we move forward with what I see today. This is going to represent that monument to carry forward into the future. It stands for a marker of our ones that never came home, of the history of our people, in that the black, the white, the red, the yellow, it's all our responsibility from today forward to remember what happened here today. To remember what happened here today, and reconciliation is a big part of that.